Do you guys remember this disaster in the middle of November from last year? Jaguar's big rebrand that kicked off with just one of the weirdest looking commercials literally ever. That was sans vehicle and sans making sense. It had a bunch of freaky stuff that, especially in the aftermath of the election, looked even more out of date. Like, you're supposed to be selling cars, but you end up with just a bunch of people that look like they ended up falling off of the back end of the turnip truck on the way to the Zoolander 3 set. Like, what are we doing out here? And everybody and their mother knew that this was going to be a disaster, and lo and behold, we got some sales data, and well, Jaguar car sales plummet in new data as Nigel Farage declares, "Go woke, go broke." And we're using a UK outlet because Jaguar is in fact a UK brand, or at least was at this point in time before it goes up for consignment and somebody buys it on the cheap. Jaguar car sales have plummeted by more than a quarter in data released as Reform UK leader Nigel Farage warned the slump comes after the car company launched its woke rebrand. I mean, there's no other way to categorize that. It was a disaster. Okay, new industry registration figures released by the parent company as Jaguar Land Rover JLR indicated that the number of vehicles sold by the firm dropped to 33,320 from 45,779 last year, a difference of 12,459 vehicles. In response to the slumping sales, Farage declared, "Go woke, go broke." Farage's comments come after the company has been blasted for dropping its iconic Growler badge, yes, opting to replace it with the J badge, yeah, and a bunch of other strange decisions. I mean, I look at those people right there and I go, yeah, people that like fine, fast vehicles and whatever will get them to their homeworn replacement treatments fast enough. Despite the Reform UK leader's quip, the new data almost entirely covers the period before the rebrand. Okay. However, the controversial changes almost immediately received a backlash, including the introduction of a bright pink concept car, which was aimed at renewing the company's image as it transitioned, quote unquote, into the electric age. And yeah, man, we got these redesigns right here, and well, it's vaguely VAG. Jaguar-esque in its profile. Like it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just I really despise the logo because Jag had one of the coolest. They had one of the coolest logos ever. One of the most distinct profiles. The F-Type was and always will be iconic, and now you're replacing it with something that doesn't look like it wouldn't fall out of a Kardashian handbag. Like, what are we doing out here, bro? What are you doing? And now we have other British correspondents, and it being the BBC, even them taking this stuff down, you know it's bad when. How Jaguar lost its way long before that polarizing advert. Yeah, man, you went from this to that, and then people are going, why? Jaguar has no desire to be loved by anybody, said Jerry McGovern as he strode across the stage on a slightly chilly evening in Miami last week. It was a bold statement from Jaguar Land Rover's creative director, but it summed up the aura around the relaunch, one of the UK's most famous brands. On the 18th of November, a short teaser ad was released that ignited social media. Lasting just 30 seconds, it showed models in bizarre and brightly colored outfits, but did not feature a single car. New York Post described it as the latest example of idiotic and woke corporate virtue signaling. Elon Musk took a dig on X, asking Jaguar's official account, "Do you sell cars?" Came at the actual launch at the Miami Art Fair. Mr. McGovern stood on stage beside two cars, resplendent in Miami pink and London blue shades. Both were example of Jaguar's new Type 00s, concept car that won't ever go on sale. What? But is meant to showcase the brand's plan for the future. Angular, aggressive, and a huge bonnet. And more than a hint of Batmobile, the design also polarized opinions. I don't like it. I get where they're going. They aren't getting there very fast. Even Gen Z hate the new woke Jaguar, declared the Daily Mail. Mark my words, Jaguar will go bust. Reform Party leader Nigel Farage predicted on X. But the former Top Gear presenter James May told the BBC that, in fact, the ad was being talked about so widely, got to have a bit of result for Jaguar, hasn't it? Jaguar's managing director Rondon Glover also hit back, insisting the company needed to be bold and disruptive in order to get its message across. Yes, in the correct way to the proper demographic. Because these freaks right here, the modern audience, They don't buy a goddamn thing except for cat litter and multi-purpose pate. Even before the fervor over the advert, the brand was already on a steady road to nowhere, argues Matthias Schmidt, founder of the industry intelligence firm Schmidt Automotive Research. The traditional Jaguar demographic was slowly being diluted through natural attrition and customers jumping ship to other brands. I mean, that's fair enough. But from there, you just do a little bit of course correction, not course drive off the cliff. So, the publicity that the ad and the launch have drawn appear to have been welcomed within the business. As Jerry McGovern dryly quipped on stage, "We're delighted to have your attention." Controversy, he added, has always surrounded British creativity when it was at its best. Yo, I guess that's definitely taking lemons and trying to make lemonade out of it. Behind all the noise, what is happening at Jaguar is pretty simple. It's being relaunched as an all-electric brand as part of a major restructuring at JLR, instigated by the parent company, the Indian conglomerate Tata. Interesting. Jaguar's current models, including the I-Pace, E-Pace, and F-Type, are no longer being sold in the UK. Instead, the first of a new generation of cars will hit the road in 2026. Jesus. Alongside the transition to battery power comes a move up market, with the new models expected to cost upward of £100,000. The reason for doing all of this are twofold. Firstly, a Jaguar has been struggling to sell enough cars to make enough money, so now you're just going to price things at a premium for and sell them to people that don't exist with cars that nobody wants. It's the bold move. Secondly, JLR needs to build more electric cars to satisfy regulators. Yeah, this is another big problem. We're going to phase out the sale of new petrol and diesel models, which, yeah, I can understand thanks to the stupid government that I'm sure you guys kicked a bunch of money into. Okay, it's eventually going to kill your industry. It's just, yeah, Jag has a reputation. Steve McQueen in the glory days, right? Like, it was that luxury car. It was the UK luxury car brand that people lusted after. I have quite an affinity for a Jag. I think they're beautiful looking cars, and at one point in time I definitely would have considered one, but now what you guys are doing, nah man, this is some Bud Light type shit, and you're not gonna live down. It's a far cry from the brand's glory days when the E-Type placed the Jaguar firmly in the heart of swinging 60s British cool. Steve McQueen owned one, so did Frank Sinatra. Peter Sellers gave one to his wife, Swedish superstar Britt Eklund, right? George Best, who knew a thing or two about fast cars and a fast lifestyle, had several. But for decades, the stereotype of the Jaguar buyer has been a well-to-do company boss, almost certainly male, with expensive cufflinks and a set of golf clubs in the boot. Not so long ago, he might have been smoking a cigar as well. Might be a little unfair on Jaguar, has clearly tried to appeal to female buyers and families with offerings such as the F-Pace, nicknamed the She-Type. It is praised by Good Housekeeping magazine after its launch for its seats designed with women in mind. Exactly, that's the way that you course correct, and it worked for so long. And now you guys just decided to tank the entire company. Reinvention of Jag has also been brewing for many years. Tata bought the brand from Ford in 2008. Oh yeah, because it was under the assumption that Ford still owned Land Rover and Jag, but it makes sense that an Indian firm would buy them, just with how much shit that's been on display recently. Are following nearly 2 decades under American ownership. During that period, Ford invested significant sums and overhauled its manufacturing and quality control process, but it failed to make the business profitable, and at the height of the global financial crisis, put Jaguar up for sale. After taking control of both Jag and Land Rover, Tata merged the two into JLR and brought stability and removed immediate doubts over Jaguar's future. But yeah, man, it's indisputable. Okay, you take a look at how many vehicles sold worldwide each financial year. 18-19, it was up there, 180,000, then drops off to 140,000, then eventually you get down to the doldrums of the mid-60s right there. But hey, it looks like it was a little bit on the rebound, but you all but confirmed that no. You will never reach those heights again. Sales data was already plummeting prior to the actual relaunch, but not before your big announcement. If you want to break away from traditional British culture and you want to appeal to whatever in the fuck this is, a major bed, now you can lie in it. And if you're going to be lying in it for a considerable amount of time, make it big enough for the brand of Jaguar, because guess what? That shit is dead as a doornail, and you might as well lay it all to rest. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.